Well, hello there and Merry Christmas, Springfield Faith Center Church family. Welcome to another podcast episode. My name is Brandon. I'm the senior pastor here. If you're joining us for the first time, maybe you stumbled across us. I'm Brandon, and to my left is, as always,
Daniel. I'm the associate pastor here.
And then to my right,
Tony. I'm the youth pastor here.
if you can see us, you can see us. Well, I guess my left would be screen right, and then Tony. Anyways,
Yeah, over here.
if you can't see us, you wouldn't know, but you can trust us.
Doesn't matter.
Anyway, we hope you guys are having a great day. We hope your Christmas season has kicked off to a good start, and Christmas is, I think, 9 days away. The only reason why
Getting close.
yeah, I remember that is because our kids count down every day. We have a little block thing that they made at Home Depot. Home Depot has a really cool little side note for Home Depot, but they have some fun projects. You can take your kids on a Saturday and they can build stuff. And
Cool.
Well, that's fun.
yeah, last year they did that. They built a Christmas countdown, so each kid has one, and so they change it every day. And I saw it this morning as I was helping my kids. So 9 days from Christmas, which means I have 8 days left to wait until I shop. But I love like the last minute, the pressure of you got to get it done. I don't know.
How many movies have been made about like the last night Christmas shopping trip trying to find the one perfect?
The husband or the
Yeah.
dad, yeah, oh yeah,
Jingle all the way.
Yep.
I'm
Turbo
living that.
Man.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a good movie. But anyway, hey, today we're gonna continue on in our conversation on Advent. Pastor Tony preached this last weekend and talked about joy, and so we're gonna kick off the question in our Beyond Sunday segment of what stood out to you. So I'm gonna throw that question over to Pastor Daniel Lanning. And I made the joke this weekend, but the Oregon, we're in Springfield, Oregon, and University of Oregon's down the street, and
Right
Dan
across the
Lanning
freeway.
is now the head
Pastor
coach.
Dan Lanning.
Pastor.
So this is Pastor Dan Lanning.
Not Coach Dan. Lanning.
I've gotten a number of text messages about that so far. I anticipate that I'm going to get more. I'm just desperately hoping that this guy and I can become friends. And
You have to.
right?
Yeah.
You'd think so.
You have to meet him.
Uh-huh.
And actually, at the council Christmas party, someone said that you should wear a shirt, make a shirt, a bright green shirt with yellow letters saying "The Other Daniel Lanning."
Oh, in duck colors?
In
That
duck
would
colors
make sense.
with
Brilliant.
duck font.
Yeah,
That's
that's a good idea. I'm gonna go have a talk with Cindy because Cindy's the t-shirt
You
maker.
can fuse
so
that
for you.
on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, what stood out to you from the weekend about joy?
I mean, it was interesting because your message was about joy, but it was also paradoxically, but at the same time not paradoxically, about suffering and about those two things. And kind of because you used the section from James chapter 1 about, consider it all joy when you face trials and troubles of many kinds, which is one of those sections of Scripture that I don't know very many people who like that section of Scripture and who like that train of thought. But it's a desperately necessary conversation because try as hard as we might, what we've all discovered in our own human experience is that it's essentially impossible to avoid pain and suffering. And so appropriately contextualizing pain and suffering and seeing it through the lens that God sees it from is one of the real big tricks for all of us in understanding it well. And it was interesting timing that you preached on that because this last week I was reading a section from Thomas Merton, contemplative Catholic friar, and he had a whole chapter on the role of pain and suffering in Christian growth, and basically his bent was talking about how deeply and desperately necessary it is for the Christian process and how important it is that we go through difficult, painful circumstances in life because of how God works that into us. And it leaves us with the question, obviously all of the questions about like, how can this be good? How can this be right? Yada, yada, ad nauseum at that point. But it also reminded me of C.S. Lewis, because C.S. Lewis has a book called The Problem of Pain where he sort of explores the same thing. And there's one quote, there's a section in that book that has always stuck with me. And he talks about how common it is to the Christian story and to the Christian life for people to go through struggles and pain. And he said, it shouldn't cause us to wonder why we're suffering. That should be the normal state. We should understand suffering and difficulty is part of life. And God is still in this, and God is still with me in this. He said, what should really catch our attention and make us wonder and perk our ears up is when we see people not going through difficulties. and not experiencing hardship and suffering. And I thought, well, that's absolutely the reverse perspective from how I normally approach it. And whether it's just my own humanity desiring a comfortable life or my own American sensibilities saying, if I work hard and do all the right stuff, then my life should be perfect, or wherever it comes from, I do typically end up with this perspective that if I'm going through pain and suffering, then it means something has gone terribly wrong and the pieces are falling out of place. And it's so easy to live in a place where my joy is connected to that formula right there. I am only joyful when everything's going right and my life is comfortable and easy. And that is very not biblical in its perspective. And yet it's a place that I find myself in pretty frequently. And so that angle of the conversation was sort of what stuck out to me and what grabbed my attention.
I think that last little statement you made goes back to what Tony was saying about this is not about happiness, right? Because happiness is I think the idea that when things are going well, I'm happy, and when things aren't, then I need to fix that so I can be happy again. But joy is deeper than that, and isn't, like you were saying, isn't based on our circumstance. For me, what stood out was I think it was a kind of a sub point you made, but you said God is at work to give you more than you've lost. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, what that resonates, and I like to go back to the first Advent story in Luke, where the angel appears and says, I bring you good news of great joy that will be for all the people. And then here's the news, is that there was today in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is Messiah and the Lord. And I think as I've gotten older, I've realized when I was young, Christmas was, it's the birth of Jesus. This is great. This is such a good thing. But as I've gotten older and done more studying of Scripture and preached this passage several times, the darkness of those days and the things that those people had lost. I mean, thinking about Mary losing dignity around other people because she's pregnant out of wedlock, and then Joseph, what he has lost in his identity, the fact that Israel is not the prominent kingdom that God promised that they would be, all these things. And so the good news of great joy comes to them. And then it says, though, is for all the people. So it's not just those who are in that line. But I think, so I see that point, that sub point you made, when God is at work to give you more than you've lost. I see that going to there, but then also see it applying to my life as well, and looking back at what I have lost and the different things I've lost, especially over this past couple of years and even seasons since I've been here at this church. I've lost a lot of things, and knowing that God gives you more than you lost. So it's not God gives you the second best. He gives you the first best the second time, in a way. The next thing he's giving you is still his best. Right.
There's I don't remember who said this, but something along the lines of, I read this once, that if we were to get the yes to every prayer we asked, our lives would be drenched in utter chaos. Yeah. And the idea is that when you are going through a hard time, you're asking God to get you out of that hard time, or to rescue you from the hard time, or any sort of scenario. But the truth is that the joy that's accomplished in us through those hard times is because God had a different plan in mind. Yeah. And so if everything I ever asked God for was I got a yes to, how chaotic and destructive and disruptive would my life be, because I just didn't have the maturity to pray the will of God before the suffering came. And,
yeah. And isn't that, and we got to be careful, because this is one of those areas where trying to have a healthy perspective when I'm not the one experiencing acute discomfort and pain is different from trying to have a healthy perspective when I am the one having acute discomfort and pain, or I'm trying to counsel somebody in acute discomfort and pain. Because there's a degree to which when someone's going through trauma, you just want to sit with them and care for them, and you don't want to try and have a deeper theological conversation about it. Right, exactly. But Paul kind of addresses this, in Corinthians when he's talking, and he says, one day when we get to heaven, our perspective is going to shift, and we will see that all the sufferings and discomfort of this world are nothing compared to the glory laid in front of us. And it is all going to make sense, and we are going to see why God he knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and a lot of the New Testament is written to people who are suffering or
Absolutely.
who are wondering why they're going through that. And even James in the passage you preach, it says, "Count it all joy, my brothers and sisters, when you meet trials."
Not if.
Yeah, not if. I wrote that down when you said that, and it says, "Because you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness, and let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing." So the trials that we face, the suffering, the things we go through are for a reason, and so you can consider it joy. Like you said, you can weigh it out, but you have to like do the weighing. Like you have to look at it like you're using like the accounting terms and stuff. You have to put it in the columns and realize, okay, I guess I am considering all of it, and there is some joy here because things are working out in a different way than I would have ever expected.
Yeah,
and it takes some retrospective look. It takes kind of a looking back and seeing, okay, so God was doing something.
Yeah, it's a lot of hindsight.
Yeah.
Realization.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Daniel, what challenged you?
Well, I mean, kind of an extension of the same idea, but the challenge was, in looking back, are there areas in my life where I'm sort of holding on to regrets and grudges against other people or against God for not making things go the way I thought they should have gone? And looking at myself now in this season, I'm in a season of life where there are no like huge active, crazy stresses that I'm going through that I would point to and say, yes, this is like the difficulty like what James is describing, but I know they're going to come again in the future. I'm going to have family members who pass. I'm going to have people that I care about who there's just distance in the relationship or whatever. Like it's going to come around again. And when those seasons of life come around again, how am I going to respond? Am I going to go to God and am I going to invite him into that place? And am I going to sit with him and try to rest in his peace? Spoiler alert, that's the next week of Advent, by the way, is peace. And am I going to sit in that with him, or am I going to respond out of that place of human limitedness again? And so that was kind of the challenge to me, was to take stock of what I've gone through historically and then to kind of prepare myself and hold on to God looking forward toward what's coming. So
I think what challenged me is, I think your second point when you said Advent joy is rooted in hope for Christ's return, where every tear will be wiped away from our eyes. It's the point where we have when we're going through suffering, and we know that we can still have joy in the midst of it, but we have to have that that end in mind.
That's the anchor point
in a way. But I think what really challenges me is not to make this such an individual point, because I think when we're going through things, the initial thing is when someone comes up and reminds us, hey, like there's still a future, we immediately want to snap at them and go, no, but I'm suffering now, I'm hurting right now. But if we can do a good job of learning this in moments of because he says when they come, so in moments of kind of on the highs and lows, the valleys and peaks, and kind of more of a peak point of our life, to know that when we go through that, it should encourage us when people remind us. It may not feel the best, and it might be hard to take that in when someone points to the future, but we can't just automatically count them off because they didn't say what we wanted to hear. In a sense of it's a communal discernment of, hey, but there's something forward going on, and it also takes the person who says that and delivers that to know when to say it, and also know how to come alongside someone, like you were saying. But I love that perspective of we still though have to remember we like to look at the right here, the right now, and we have to at some level be able to go, okay, I see this, but I know this, and and maybe we know the people who will remind us of that hope, that future hope, to be able to go to and tap in.
Yeah, that coming Advent. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. So Tony, kind of finishing out this section of things, if you had had more of an opportunity to share on Sunday morning or a way to continue the conversation, what would you have gone into more?
Yeah, one of my favorite just thinkers right now is a guy named Jonathan Haidt, and he has this idea that he calls post-traumatic growth. And the idea is that whereas we're well acquainted with PTSD, and after you go through trauma and suffering, there's wounds there that take a really long time to heal. But he talks about how we as human beings are just he would say by nature of evolution, I would say by design,
yeah.
that are designed to actually rather than like become weaker after stress and trauma, we actually become stronger after stress and trauma. And he talks about this idea of like, if you take a piece of glass and you drop it on the floor, like that glass is going to shatter because it's fragile.
Yeah.
If you take a plastic cup and you drop it on the floor, it's going to bounce off because it's not fragile and nothing's really going to happen to it. And he says like, we're neither the plastic cup or the piece of glass. We are something where if you drop us on the floor, we get stronger afterwards. We're anti-fragile. And that really, really captures a lot of like what James is talking about here, is that like the more pain you go through, the more perseverance and endurance you have, the more maturity you bring to the table, and the more you grow afterwards.
Yeah.
And we kind of live in a world where, very understandably, like trauma and pain, like it paralyzes us, and it's really hard to point people to move through that and beyond that. But I'm convinced that like through the healing of the Holy Spirit and through like really intentional work, there is a way like where you become like a stronger, more persevering, more steadfast person on the other side of that.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a new school in psychology, but it's got a lot of like people asking a lot of really important questions in the field.
Right.
And so I probably would have included that somewhere
Yeah.
in the conversation.
Yeah. I like the thrust of that, and I like the idea of that conversation, because on some level it does run contradictory to a lot of what's culturally popular right now. There is a degree of like celebrated fragility, if I can say it that way right now, in popular culture, and it's hard not to slip into that. And so to hear people talking about the resiliency of human design is encouraging, because the truth is we are resiliently designed. Like that is part of the way that God has designed us for this process. So
Yeah.
Was that Jonathan Haidt, or was that Jonathan Haidt through Kanye?
Does Kanye talk about that?
It doesn't kill you, makes you stronger.
Oh,
That's true.
It's a rap song, I think.
Yeah, that's
Somewhere back in the day.
maybe Kanye through Jonathan Haidt.
through
Yeah,
Nietzsche.
He was like, he listened to Kanye and he's like, you know
Side
what?
He's
Write
got
a whole
a point.
book about this.
Yeezy. No idea what I just said.
Because it was funny.
All right. Well, thank you, Tony.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good message, man.
It was.
They did a good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, let's transition into our next segment. We thought we would. Well, I thought it'd be kind of cool to
Have a little bit of fun this morning.
have a little fun, but we also want to get a little serious too. Tony is going to be transitioning out, and we're going to miss him.
Boo.
Lots of booze for us and selfish booze, but yays for God's call in his life. And
Yes, that's fine. I admit that.
Daniel, you're
Daniel's
spunky
working
this
through
week.
some stuff.
I'm working through some stuff. I'm grumpy this week. Yeah, I'm gearing
No,
up for
spunky.
Christmas.
I didn't say
spunky.
Spunky,
Oh,
yeah.
because I was grouchy yesterday, and
It's okay, man.
sometimes my grouchiness comes out in the form of like ill-timed humor. So
Anyway, Tony, I wanted to ask Tony, to kind of share, thinking about the idea of joy and what are some joyous moments that you remember?
Yeah.
During your time as a on-staff pastor here at Springfield Faith Center.
Yeah. I would say a few come to mind. The first is all the students I got to baptize in that baptismal over there. Those, to me, like, I don't love doing weddings, and I don't there's a lot of pastoral roles that I will do for people I love, if I'm called to do it, but I don't necessarily love doing those types of stuff. But baptisms, getting to be in the tank and be the intermediary between the Lord and the person getting baptized, and just speaking the Trinity over them and watching them make that passage of allegiance and declaration. I think I was counting yesterday, and I got to baptize I think 13 or 14 kids while I was here, and I love that, and I could tell you all the names of the kids, and I have a journal that I pray for them, and that's really special to me. Getting to be up here with your dad and share my story for the first time publicly about stuff that I had struggled with for a really long time. That was, even though there was some backlash to it, that was such a liberating experience. And then to be so loved and embraced by the church, and to still have people coming up to me, just asking questions and wanting to learn. And that's a really, really huge moment of joy for me. So those are a few that stand out. Watching you get prayed over here, your coming in and watching Overman and Gabe Barrero and David Eddy pray over you. Like those are big moments for me that stand out as like just real highlight joyful moments.
Cool.
Got any like some really funny stories you want to share? Like camp experiences or
well, we had some kids come here once who we had in the kitchen we had the communion, like the little like styrofoam bread that we have at the top, and then the grape juice in there.
So gross.
Yeah. We had some kids, middle schoolers, come who had never been to church before, and they're like exploring, and they find all this, and I didn't know where they were, and so I went and found them, and they like had handfuls of it, and they were just like eating and
snacking
drinking,
on
and
it.
they're like, "Is this like snacks? Like this is gross!" Like, but they like. So I'd explain to them what communion was, and they're like, "Ew, what?" Like, and so,
How many did they eat?
oh gosh, there's probably 10. There's 3 of them though, so not that many between the 3 of them.
It's
But
3 months worth. They were good.
that was before you got here.
Oh, okay.
That was.
I don't mind if they want to eat that. Do we know if that's actually like
good for them.
food based? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I know it's definitely like dissolvable.
Yeah, there are some strong styrofoam-esque qualities to
Yeah.
the way.
I also like every retreat that we got to do was so fun. Like we did a trip to Seattle that was super awesome, and like Linda, I think Jason was a chaperone on that, but you weren't helping out with the youth group yet at that point. We did a couple trips to Bend, and like those stand out as like really big highlights. Oh, there was one time we were driving to the McKenzie Riverside Cottages, and I had a car full of kids, and we were driving down, and we're going 55, and this little black pug puppy runs and gets hit by my car, just like right in front of everybody. And yes, it's very traumatic and sad, and like people were definitely looking at me like I was the devil, like all the
Merry
people
Christmas,
behind me.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, he ran out.
Yeah,
And-
what do you do?
But after
speed
that,
up.
like the kids had their friends. They gave their friends my number and had them text me like, "Hey, this is Pet Authority in Bend, Oregon, and like we heard you had a hit and run." Like, just like I got like pug ornaments for Christmas that year.
Oh, wow.
They were so funny. So
We had a story like that. I was the youth pastor, and we were driving back from Redding to Eureka, and there's a lot of hills and windy roads, and there's about 7 cars in a caravan, and I was leading the pack, and I saw a deer coming out, and I just kept going, and then I saw it make a dart for it behind the person, and I thought they saw it because I'd kind of slowed down, and then I went, and they didn't see it, and it went across, and they ended up clipping it, and I thought they missed it, and so I just kept driving, and when I got back, she was in tears. She was so upset. I thought I saw her, "Oh, hey, how's that deer?" And she just started crying. And I was just like,
no.
I'm like, "Well, what's the matter?" She's like, "I hit it. You didn't stop." You're like, "What were you thinking?" And I'm like, "I was thinking you didn't hit it."
Yeah.
And then like, I gave her like, I called it a Bridgie Award instead of the Dundies. And so I gave her like the best driver award, and she did not think that was funny. but not a black pug. I mean, that's a pet.
that's and it was a
Right.
puppy.
And this one lived. This deer ran off and was fine. But
I like to think that the black pug lived. I
Yeah.
have no way of knowing that. It was definitely alive after I hit it, and it was picked up and taken to the vet. So
well, all dogs go to heaven, so you'll see him one day. So.
that's right. That's who I have to stand before on Judgment Day.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
so
good.
those are some joyful moments.
Any other ones that stand out? Any stories about Tony?
I was trying to think if I had any stories about Tony, and I'm sure they're there, but I can't. Nothing comes to mind immediately.
All I know is when I was coming up for our visit, and we met Gabe Barrero. He was like, "Hey, let's come to the campus. We'll meet you here." And he was like, "Hey, the staff they're gonna meet. We're meeting with them first, and then you guys can come in and I'll show you the church." But I kind of told them not to talk to you guys.
Right. He told us to stay away and chill out.
And we thought that was weird because we're like human, like don't look at the humans,
We all did. We were peeking out the windows and stuff.
Yeah, and of course, the only person to disobey our district supervisor was Tony. He made sure he was right in the room that we were in to go, "Do you guys need anything?" And And, you know, I think I said something to him, oh, we're good. And I said hi and gave him the head nod or whatever. But I thought it was funny that he went out of his way. And now knowing Tony, I know he was there on purpose. He never hangs out in the kitchen. No, but he was kind of over there just to be like, hey, you need anything? Like, yeah. So it was fun. The first interaction.
My last conversation with your dad is one of my favorite conversations ever. So, it was the Sunday which is not a joyful Sunday, but I was doing announcements that Sunday, and I came up and I talk fast, like when I'm in front of people, and so like I was zooming through the announcements. As
do you have an issue with that?
I've heard
he just looked at the camera like I talk like
more
who cares?
about my preaching, like you talk fast than anything else. And anyways, I was zooming through announcements, and your dad in front of the whole church, he goes, were you on like crack or speed or something, Tony? Because that was really fast. And so between services, as I was, or after worship, second service, I came up and grabbed the mic, and I go to your dad and I'm like, hey, I just smoked some weed and popped a Xanax, and I'm doing really good. And he goes, smiles and gives a thumbs up. And, church humor. So,
I want to know how you answered that. Crack or speed?
I know.
Did you say
yes?
Yeah.
All of the above? Is that an option?
No, it was funny though. That was, and that was really indicative of your dad's and I's relationship. Was we flicked crud at each other a lot and picked on each other, and it was fun.
Yeah.
I still think it's funny that when I first got here, I gave you a hard time calling you, author, reverend, pastor. I was told that was no longer funny, so I stopped. But
I had people telling me the horse was dead. Yeah,
I was like, it's funny to me. It's funny to Tony. I thought it was funny the day you were going up on stage and like, hey man, your fly's down, and you look, he checked. He's like, oh, and he's like, gotcha.
Your first Sunday here.
Yeah. So I got to start quick. Well, Tony, it has been a joy. We're not going to say much more so you don't cry and get all emotional. You can do that on the 26th.
Do that on your own time.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, I know that Sunday the 26th is the day after Christmas, so most people won't come, but it's my last Sunday, so if you want to come say goodbye, it'd be cool to see you.
Yeah, yep. Tony will be preaching, and then, so we're going to, it'd be fun to come and see him and get a chance to, talk and say official goodbyes. We'll have him back. He'll be like Arnold. He'll be back. Yeah. Sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize for that one. That was a good one. So.
Hey, we thought we'd do something fun and do a Christmas movie trivia, kind of for the last little part of our thing today. We have 20 questions.
Here we go.
Here's question 1.
Is it multiple choice or do we just...
No, you have to know.
Okay.
You just got to know. You got to know. Question 1, in It's a Wonderful Life, what is the name of George Bailey's guardian angel?
Oh, Clarence.
Clarence. Yeah, that's it.
It disappeared on your phone.
It's not loading, but I do believe that's correct. Question 2, who provided the voice of Ebenezer Scrooge in the 2009 animated Christmas movie, A Christmas Carol?
Do you guys know?
Is that the one with Jim Carrey?
Yep, it's Jim Carrey.
It is Jim Carrey?
He plays like 6 characters in that movie.
Wow. Okay.
In which Christmas movie does Buddy travel from the North Pole to New York to find his father, Walter Hobbs?
Krampus.
Elf.
It is.
These are easy. Who starred as Kevin McAllister in Home Alone?
Oh.
Kieran Culkin.
Now Tony's just
Older
trolling
brother.
the questions.
Macaulay Culkin. Who was denied the role? Tony Scarcella. Until he made
That's
an
the third
appearance.
one.
Until he made an appearance in the third one.
Who was denied the role?
Question 5. In the movie A Christmas Story, what is the only thing Ralphie Parker wants for Christmas? Is this for people who just
never seen a
arrived?
Christmas
Maybe,
movie?
yeah.
That's a BB gun, right?
It's
a
the
Red Ryder
BB gun, yeah.
Red Ryder BB gun.
Be more specific.
Keep his eye out.
I want to buy one for my son. But
I want to buy one to kill the rats in my garage.
do it. Question 6. Edmund Gwenn played Kris Kringle in which 1947 Christmas movie, a role reprised by Richard Attenborough in 1994?
Miracle on 34th Street.
I believe I would agree.
I mean, that sounds right to me, but I feel like the difficulty level took a significant jump up for that one.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Is Richard Attenborough, is he in Jurassic Park? Yeah.
Dr. What's his name?
John. It's John.
H something?
What?
Is it starts with an H, his last name? Maybe?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, then that's correct. It's a Wonderful Life. No, Miracle on 34th
Miracle on
Street.
34th.
In which Christmas movie does Jim Carrey's character try to ruin Christmas for the people of Whoville?
And back
Okay.
Cat in a Hat.
We should have read these questions. All right, here's maybe a different
Die
one.
Hard.
In Home Alone, we all know that one though, right?
The Grinch.
The Grinch.
Yeah.
The Grinch.
The Grinch, yeah. It's in the Jim Carrey's Grinch, yeah. Question 8. In Home Alone, what was the name of Kevin's neighbor who was played by Roberts Blossom?
Oh, the guy,
the
that
snow
he was
shovel
scared
guy?
of? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a big jump in difficulty there.
They just call him the snow shovel guy. I don't remember his actual name.
He has a real name, but I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Old Man Marley.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
That's
That's
right.
the character
Like
name.
Not Bob Marley.
No.
Not
Marley
Bob.
and Marley.
There you go.
That's Christmas.
What's
isn't
that
it?
from?
That's
Muppet
from
Christmas
Christmas
Carol.
Carol, which is my favorite Christmas
Me
movie
too.
of all time.
Well, second favorite. I
Yeah.
love that movie.
Did you know that C.S. Lewis? Never mind.
We've already hit our quota. We can't
Yeah.
do any more C.S. Lewis references.
Well, he believes that when Scrooge goes through, has the dream, that's his purgatory.
Oh, interesting.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Anyway. just thought I'd
Did
throw
you
that
learn
out
that with your
there.
dissertation?
That and Jerry Walls, yeah.
Yeah.
Who uses C.S. Lewis. Anyway, which dark comedy from 2003 features Billy Bob Thornton as a thief who disguises himself as a department store Santa Claus? Is it Bad Santa?
It's Bad Santa.
Okay.
It's a
That's a
depraved
bit-
movie.
Which Cheers actor provided the narration for the Disney movie Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas?
Is it Kelsey Grammer?
I mean, that would make the most sense.
He's got a perfect narrator voice.
He does.
It is.
Yeah.
Kelsey Grammer.
Frasier.
Hey, I like that. I like that accent. Keep doing that. In which 2003 Christmas romantic comedy does the character Natalie fall in love with the British Prime Minister played by Hugh Grant? I have to watch this
Love
at least
Actually
2 or 3 times
is
every year.
all around.
Yeah. Yes.
He's
Yeah.
going to do the British accent a lot after you watch that movie.
Which Hollywood actor played 6 roles in the Christmas movie The Polar Express, including Santa
played
Claus,
6?
the conductor, and the narrator? Is it Forrest Gump?
It is Forrest
It's Forrest Gump. You started with Forrest, and I thought, was Forrest Whitaker in that movie? And then you finished with Gump, and I was like,
Tom
oh,
Hanks.
okay.
Tom Hanks. Or Woody, either one.
Yep.
What was Clarence the Angel? Oh, wow, they gave away the answer later. Well, I love quizzes like that, though.
Yeah.
What was Clarence the Angel awarded for completing his mission in It's a Wonderful Life? Wings.
He swings, yes.
Okay, so we're just Christmas movie stars, according to trivia stars, according to
Apparently.
laughgaff.com. Which American comedian played the role of Papa Elf in the movie Elf?
Bob Newhart.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Question 15. Tim Allen played the part of Scott Calvin, an ordinary guy who has to take Santa's place in which film?
They gave the title of the movie in the question.
I know.
Yeah,
The
didn't
Santa
they?
Claus.
The Santa Claus. Yeah.
I love that movie.
Oh,
It's so
yeah.
good.
I
I
think
don't know
it's
if I've ever seen that one. So
It's so
it's a
good.
great one because Tim Allen's in it. I think
he's pretty funny.
Yeah. Question 16. In which Christmas comedy film is Clark Griswold's boss, Frank Shirley, kidnapped and brought to Griswold's house?
Isn't that
Christmas
National
Vacation.
Lampoon's Christmas
National-
Vacation?
yeah.
Yeah.
Which was also already mentioned in the... Oh, no, that was in the last quiz we tried to do, but didn't work. Okay,
Oh, the
question
failure of
17.
quiz, yes.
Which Ghostbuster star played Frank Cross in the 1988 Christmas comedy
Oh.
Scrooged? Murray.
Is it Bill Murray?
Bill Murray, yeah. Question 18. Which Christmas movie features Arnold Schwarzenegger desperately trying to get an action figure on Christmas Eve as a gift for his
Turbo
son?
Man. Jingle all the
Jingle
way.
all the way.
I wanted
Yeah,
a Turbo Man so bad when I was a kid.
So looking on like some of these streaming services, I think it was Hulu, they showed that there's a Jingle All the Way 2 played by Larry the Cable Guy.
Huh.
That,
That's a sensible segue from
that would be
Arnold's,
interesting. Yeah.
He also did the Tooth Fairy too. Dwayne The Rock Johnson played the
Yeah.
Tooth Fairy. And Larry the Cable Guy, he has a knack for
Following
taking
up
over
these
really buff
Hollywood.
dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Which animated Christmas movie tells the adventures of Jack Skellington, Halloween Town's Pumpkin King?
Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas,
Christmas.
yeah.
Before Christmas, yeah.
I don't like that movie.
I
at
haven't
all.
seen
know
it all
it's
the way
hot
through.
take.
It look.
Yeah.
I just haven't
I haven't
seen
seen
it
it
all
all
the
the
way
way
through.
through either.
I really don't
I
like
kind
it.
of like after.
Linda, do you
15
like
minutes.
that movie? Yeah,
She would. She
Vigorous
would.
head
She
nod.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah, she would. Hey, it's just your. It's what you would like. It's nothing bad. Question 20. Which animated television film classic based on the book by Raymond Briggs features the song "Walking in the Air"?
No clue.
I actually don't know this one. The Christmas Shoes. I don't know.
I'm gonna guess Frosty the Snowman, but
Oh,
we'll see.
yeah, you're probably right.
called just the Snowman. Interesting. That's like the only one that like.
Sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah.
There probably is one called that.
Anyway, wow. Next time we will read the trivia.
That was a little bit underwhelming.
was
Yeah.
really easy.
Hey, but we're super smart.
There you go.
If you haven't seen any of those, go out and see them. Those are kind of the classic ones that you
Tis
should.
the season. Yeah.
Hey, Tony,
Yes,
would
sir.
you want to read James 1, 2 through 4?
I will. This is my first time doing this. And
Is it really? And
my last time.
Probably last. Yeah.
Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing.
Amen.
Amen.
You read that a little fast, though. So.
So I have you do all my reading for me.
Literally. Well, have a good one. We'll see you guys. And Merry Christmas.
Merry
Wrong hand
Christmas.
again. Bye.